Jesus freak here. And there's my little furball crashed out on the couch. Now, I'm a terrible writer, but some time ago I thought, maybe I should try to come up with my own book introductions for the Bible. Because let's face it, a lot of the introductions I've seen have issues. I've seen a lot of Bibles that push JEPD or that push the idea that Paul didn't have anything to do with writing Hebrews or stuff like that. And when you need a Bible you can trust to give away to newcomers, this kind of stuff can be really problematic. So I'm like, maybe I need to try to bounce ideas off someone and get stuff written without my tendency to ramble. Because there's some things I want to make sure are clear. The first is Mosaic authorship of the Pentateuch has to be absolutely accepted. Can't be, oh, it might be Moses, or there's a chance it could be him, or we don't really know, or even he probably didn't write Deuteronomy 34, but he probably wrote the rest. And he wrote it all. And we can't accept that Paul wrote Hebrews because it's missing the intro. Yeah, no. Paul absolutely wrote Hebrews. At least there's no question, I think, that whoever wrote the Gospel of John and whoever wrote the first letter of John are obviously the same person. And whoever wrote the first wrote the second. And whoever wrote the second wrote the third. So at least there's no question of that the Gospel of John and the three letters share common authorship. And then we have people that say, oh, Paul didn't really write the letters to the Thessalonians, or Paul didn't write 1st and 2nd Timothy, or Titus. Get serious, As much as I have to worry about translation notes in a KJV causing problems from KJV onlyists, and it sounds paradoxical, but you give KJV with the original translator notes to someone and they see Isaiah 14:12 and someone's going on about, oh, the modern version's called Lucifer, the day star, therefore they're satanic fakes. And yet the King James has a footnote that says the real translation is O day star. Sure, that's fine for someone who's been in the faith long enough that kind of stuff isn't going to break them. But what about a novice? That kind of stuff's going to make them question things, and that's the last thing we need right now. Because the King James onlyists are going to come in And they're going to come in with their stupid ideas, and they're going to destroy these people's faith using these translation notes. That's why the giveaway Bibles I have don't have translation notes. Because I'm aware that some people are going to turn them on their head and, cause people to question their faith. And I mean, that might be exactly the opposite of what they're trying to do, but that's what they're going to do. I've said, with supporters like these, who needs the devil? With supporters like Gail Ann Ripplinger, or God and, with supporters like Sam Gipp, with supporters like Matthew Bible Protector Verschure, who needs the devil? But I have to watch out. I have to make sure that my stuff isn't going to cause people to call their faith into question when they run into these people. But I'm not really all that good at collecting my thoughts. I'm a terrible writer. That's why I stick to translation more. I have to deal with the traditions, even if I don't entirely believe them. Like, I don't necessarily believe Matthew wrote in Hebrew and then translated into Greek. But I got to write that in the intro because that's what's supposed to have happened. Or I can believe that there was a common written source underlying Matthew, Mark, and Luke. But I have to say that they worked independently of each other. I can believe that the Gospels were written pseudonymously because I don't think it actually matters who wrote them, as they're still, theopneustos. They're still divinely inspired, regardless of whose pen they came from. But I have to keep to this because even if I don't believe these things necessarily, and I don't think they're going to be faith breaking to someone who's strong in the faith, they could be to someone who's weak in the faith. And I have to be considerate of those who are weaker in the faith. I have to say that such and such thing happened even if I don't agree with it. But then there's some things that I'm likely to believe are true that might be a little odd. When I say, oh, when they say Israel crossed the Red Sea, and you find all these maps, and they're crossing just north of the Gulf of Suez, and it doesn't necessarily even show them crossing through water. It's the Red Sea, not the Gulf of Suez. They crossed through the Red Sea, and as Paul said, the law was given on Mount Horeb, and Mount Horeb is on the Arabian Peninsula. We might say, it's Mount Sinai, but it's not on the Sinai Peninsula. How do we know that? Because Paul said so. He said right out that Sinai Peninsula is on as Mount Sinai is on the Arabian Peninsula. And of course, that fits fine with them crossing as far south as the Red Sea. And of course, it's also a bigger miracle for them to have crossed the Red Sea proper than to cross the northern tip of the Gulf of Suez. And of course, skeptics always got to tone down the miracles. But it's not so much the skeptics I'm worried about. I'm more worried about people who mean well but create skeptics. I'm sure a lot of people have been turned off from Christianity altogether because of the ridiculousness of some KJV onlys. But I got to be careful. Sure, I could pick a fight. I'm not here to pick a fight. I'm not here to win a fight. I'm here to win souls. And if I have to, tone down what I believe and keep it simple just to win souls, Paul said the same thing. I was determined to know nothing among you except Christ and Him crucified. If it takes toning things down to make sure that some people aren't going to take what you said and turn it against you, the truth is the one thing that matters. And honestly, I think we need to make sure that there's a Bible out there that's handled by believers, that's not skeptical of these things. It's a standard KJV because any deviation from that's going to throw people off. It doesn't have the translator's notes because that's going to throw people off. And it doesn't have things that deny what we consider orthodox. But I'm not sure I can do that by myself. Jesus freak out.